This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. And Alan Cochrane is giving me that look of a man who wants my chair.
No, I'm happy back here.
Yeah, you say that. You've got that look. When I've done a few theatre things, and you get an understudy, and when you walk in, they say, "Oh, are you all right?" But they don't mean, it's not the normal, "You're all right," it's, "No, are you all right? Any illness, any chance I could get on tonight?"
They mean, are you not all right?
I'm not all right. I've got terrible toothache.
Oh,
Ryan, can we just say we did miss you?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But I listened to bits while I was away.
Oh, mortificado. I don't want you listening in.
Sounded great. But I did worry about Alan. He sounded like he was loving it a bit too much. I was reminded of that whole song.
Drunk on the adulation.
You know the old song, "How are you going to keep them down on the farm now that they've seen Paris?" It was like
It went a bit Star is Born.
Yeah, I think
that old song.
I think you've seen Paris now. You don't want to be shifting bales at 6 a.m.
Well, here we are.
By the way, if you're interested, you can text us on 81215 about any old topic, and you can follow us on Twitter, the social networking.
How did they do that?
Yeah, well, you can do it by using @Frank on Absolute.
Really?
Yeah, simple as that.
Uh-huh.
Right across. Oh, it's a cyber circus. Yeah, that's what it is. So yes,
toothache.
I found my.
It's called toothache. Can you
please
pronounce it properly? It's toothache.
I found my dentist at midnight.
Wow.
On his mobile, saying, "Can you help me? I'm in agony." And he said, "Take painkillers."
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
But I think he's going to do me today, I'm hoping. Because they don't work on Saturdays, but he lives over the shop, so he can be teased down.
He lives over the shop?
You make it sound like open all hours.
Yeah, you know when you get in, they've opened up especially for you, there's no receptionist, you know.
Oh, really? I don't know that.
They have to use a hand drill.
Now, I'm good on teeth, Frank. Tell me what you think the problem is.
I know what the problem... I say I know. I had root canal.
Oh, okay.
A few weeks ago. I had part 1 of root canal.
Oh.
And he thinks, according to what he told me in the early hours, that I've got an infection in my root canal. It's not dissimilar to the Suez Canal crisis in 1956 that brought down our Prime Minister Anthony Eden. I'm in the Anthony Eden role this time.
I do feel like the last few weeks have been starved of historical references in relation to
that's your
toothache.
fault. You've been in charge. Don't come crying to me. I mean, it's the worst. It's so... It sort of infects everything, doesn't it? Toothache.
Toothache.
Yeah.
It makes you irritable. I lay in bed thinking, what's the point of living?
Oh, dear.
I know, it's terrible.
I'm just saying, and I don't mean this indelicately, but as a friend, it might be a good opportunity if you're getting the teeth done anyway.
I know what you're going to say, but I like them the way they are.
No, I know, and I do too.
It looks like a panoramic view of Boot Hill. And I like the Western theme on it. I tell you, I ate it. I ate toothache. I've said toothache now, so you've drawn me in. I ate it nearly as much as I ate Eurythmics. That's how much I ate it. And that's really saying something, because I used to like Eurythmics when they were first out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Sweet Dreams era you liked.
But now... I can listen to any old music. I'm extremely tolerant on the music front. Mm-hmm. Except if I'm in a car, I'll reach across a taxi driver's shoulder to switch Eurythmics off.
It's gone a bit sort of,
it's unbearable.
School run mum working out.
It's got everything wrong with it. It's got leave showbiz to work at Oxfam written all over it. Looking back now, you could see it coming. The signs were there.
We've had a text in saying
from Dave Stewart.
No, someone saying the best thing for toothache, Frank, is clove oil, and that's from Claire in Paisley. And if you're from Glasgow, you know a thing or two about toothache, would be my guess. So,
yeah.
So, you know. Clove oil.
Thanks
for that. My brother used to Keith used to sock cloves. You can buy cloves. You can buy them to stick in oranges.
You are joking at this point.
They stick them in oranges at medieval banquets, cloves.
Yes. I've been to many.
He used to buy the cloves and just sock them like one might sock a fisherman's friend. They're vile.
There's very little you tell about your childhood or family that I wouldn't believe, to be honest.
This is a man who also washed his hair, of course, in 1001 carpet cleaner. And just to show how old that was, the advert used to say 1001 cleans a big, big carpet for less than £0.50.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I've been away for a couple of weeks on what some might call a holiday. Not Frank.
En vacances.
Yeah.
You didn't make the same mistake I made and go staycation, did you?
I did go staycation.
There you go.
But I think I've discovered it's impossible to have what one might term, even generally, a holiday with a 3-month baby.
Oh.
What I feel like I've had is 2 weeks in a Turkish prison. No sleep, people staring at me menacingly. Lots of that, smell of excrement. Trying to eat in a restaurant with a baby, impossible.
Is that tough going?
Well, they scream and people don't like it in
so
a
do
restaurant.
I, to be fair, depending on who I'm with.
Yeah, well, but,
when the carbs come out.
Yeah.
There was one... yeah, exactly. There was one plus. I managed to do the same joke 3 times with 3 different waiters.
You find that a plus? That's
I do.
Great.
I do. I like the idea of it, because, the repetition allows you to hone it to perfection.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to know the joke?
Yeah, so... What happens is you go into a posh restaurant and you push in a pram, and they say, "Would you like to sit over there?" And they point to the table in the furthermost away from everyone.
Social
and every
Siberia,
time I said, "I'm sorry, but nobody puts a baby in the corner." And I mean, it was worked every time. A treat. I was almost I was leading them that way.
Yeah,
it was joyous, but it was terrible.
Terrible, you say?
Terrible time we had. Torrid. Yeah. But,
was it, just the lack of sleep and the...
It's just you can't do anything when you got a baby, unless you take, you need to
what
take
is it that you were planning on doing though? What horse riding was it that you missed out on?
Eating.
You didn't eat on holiday because
what I would do,
3-month-old.
we would sit down, the baby would cry, I would get up and take him out for a walk, Kath would eat on her own, I'd come back, she'd take him, I'd eat on my own, but brackets... cold food. So my experience was slightly worse. That was it. Simple as that. I might... I think it might be time to get the army of nannies.
I was going to say, like that nice one in The Omen, you could get one of those...
No, I mean do our own goat's milk. Yeah, I don't remember the nice one in The Omen. Was she the one that flew in on an umbrella?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
That's Mary Poppins.
Did he cry a lot in the restaurant then, Buzz?
He cried. He cried and then I cried. It's good that we went to
expensive?
We went to Babington House, which is
lovely.
Very posh.
Lovely.
And Kath was saying to me, well, I wonder who's going to be here. I saw Russell Brand was here last week. I mean, it could be anybody at Babington House there.
Did you get Russell Grant?
So we saw one person I knew, and that was a bloke who sits in front of me at the West Brom matches. So, we didn't even have any sort of celebrity to take the sting.
But in a weird way, isn't that a good thing? Because you were on holiday. I mean, your life is in that world.
Exactly, I was on holiday.
I
was on holiday, so I didn't want to be the celebrity.
Oh, I see.
Obviously I had to mingle, go from table to table, shaking hands, that kind of thing.
Did you?
Like a major did. Meal all right? Meal all right? What about this? I came in earlier and the bloke sit over there and I said, nobody puts baby in the corner. That's what my lunch times were like. Yeah, it was like, when there used to be a hotel you could stay at, where you had every morning you could buy a ticket for breakfast with Telly Savalas, who was the bloke who played Kojak. They let him live at the hotel. And that was what he paid.
They just paid him in lollipops.
He had to have breakfast and be jovial and tell showbiz anecdotes to a group of holidaymakers every morning.
Wow.
Is anyone listening? I haven't written it off. That's an idea.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I tell you, let me ask you a question, because you both got your finger on the pulse of popular culture. Why is the bean bag generally scoffed at?
It's seen a little bit as kind of student hovel, isn't it?
Really?
Oh,
Is
now
that
you're
your
going to
answer?
say you've gone and bought one.
Because my answer was going to be, is it generally scoffed at?
I think it is, yeah. I think if you go to someone's home and I've got a brown corduroy bean bag.
Well, Frank, they have enjoyed something of a renaissance in the last couple of years.
Well, my
That sounds
baby,
comfortable.
my baby boss, he loves the brown corduroy.
I've got a brown corduroy suit that I find very
He
comfortable.
probably, you see,
but-
now that he's got accustomed to the bean bag, he'd probably cradle himself in your lap very happily.
in the market for a 3-button corduroy suit.
He's got used to
for a
it.
6'3" man.
A bit of brown furry corrugation,
Nice.
such as you get on
But it
corduroy.
sounds comfortable.
When you see him, because it's an enormous beanbag and he's a tiny baby.
How big? When you say enormous?
Well, I'd say it's obviously the whole thing about a beanbag is it's a movable feast.
All right, if you were to get it long.
One of the reasons people don't like them is because they're fluid. Mm-hmm. They can't contain them. It's not like a sofa. Mm-hmm. It's got a mind of its own.
Yeah.
It's freeform.
Definitely.
But I would say if me and you pulled either side of my brown corduroy beanbag, if anyone's tuned in now, they're going to think, well, is this the medical section? I'd say we'd get an easy 6.5 feet.
Oh, wow.
And he's 3 months old, so when he's in the middle of it, he's all little pink and crinkly, and this is the big corduroy thing. It looks like, if you can imagine an enormous walnut whip.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like that.
That's great.
But it's a beautiful thing for a baby. But I'm thinking, I've got it in my holiday home. I have a holiday home.
He has a caravan.
But I'm thinking now, why
Be
don't
honest.
I have a beanbag at home? They're beautiful.
Yeah, and,
And they embrace you in a way that a sofa doesn't.
you're a success.
Or,
you can have a beanbag at home
A
and
sofa.
in the holiday home.
Here's what the difference is, I think. A sofa, I think, is a bit like going out with Victoria Beckham.
Right.
In what respect?
Well, because
Comfortable.
it never really joins, it never really embraces, never wraps around you. There's a firmness in it. Whereas a beanbag's a bit more Jerry Halliwell, if you know what I'm saying, a bit more squidgy and hoggable. There you go.
I'd stick to a puff, Frank. That's what I've always done.
Well, that, of course, is the other option. But they can be spiky.
You could have one of them in your holiday home.
Yeah,
Have the beanbag in the real home.
Yeah. Let's face it, it's happened. I've read it in the papers before now, no one's had any idea.
Frank, we've had a text in. Sitting with my clove oil. I also have toothache and all my hair bro. And that's from our Keith.
Oh, Kate's got toothache.
Yes, you're like strange twins.
That is, yeah. It's like, when you get that psychic thing going
Connection.
on. Yeah. That's terrible,
I hope
man.
you get better, our
Do you
Keith.
think he's serious? He's actually got the clove oil out.
Yes, I do.
I bet he hasn't got the 1001 out. You can't buy that anymore. Oh, I love those old adverts. Now tea's in a bag. I remember that one. That was a big turnabout in popular culture.
Oh, yeah.
Hard to think of it now, really.
What, the tea bag? The introduction of the tea bag?
David Baddiel wrote a book about the Second World War, and he gave it to me to read, and in the middle of it, the soldiers get out some tea bags. I said, I'm sorry. I remember the coming of the tea bag. It'd be like 1960s.
Was that like the Trivial Pursuit row?
So we changed
can't ever
it.
talk about
So
that.
we changed it, so that's forever immortalised now.
Is that
You
right?
can't have soldiers with tea bags. Ridiculous.
No.
I think he got mixed up with sandbags.
Maybe.
That wasn't the only thing you said after you just read the book.
No, I just said that.
Frank!
Yeah, I didn't...
Picked him up on one anachronism and then left it.
I don't do critique, I only do corrections. That's the way I operate.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Just got we got the TV screen on in here, and I just saw Neil Armstrong's funeral was on with Buzz Aldrin, of course, as my son is named after Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins, the other two astronauts from Apollo 11.
Indeed.
At the funeral. And I thought that's one occasion when you don't want to be the first.
Indeed.
No.
We've actually had a text about that.
Yes, from Nugget, who's one of my
An email,
regulars.
rather.
Ah, Nugget.
And he's put, did you know that Neil Armstrong used to tell pretty
Is he
unfunny...
Spanish?
What did I say?
Jose
Neil
Mourinho. Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong.
Neil Armstrong used to tell pretty unfunny jokes about the moon and always end with the line, I guess you had to be there.
Did he really?
Yeah,
Oh, I love him for
I
that.
hope he did. That is brilliant.
That's great.
I once did a panel show with Gary Lineker, and I think... I can't remember what the context, but he said to me, you know when you're captain in England and you... Oh, you don't, do you? Very good. Very good.
I didn't think it was possible to love him more, but you've just done it.
It's
for me.
always possible to love Gary Lineker a little bit more as each new flavour is introduced onto the market.
We've had a text saying...
So just reading a Walker's press release.
We've had a text that I think is for you that just says, is it safe?
Oh, a marathon
Peter
man.
Flint's.
No, that'll be a dentist reference.
Yeah.
What?
Have you seen Marathon Man?
Is it safe?
Oh.
There you go.
Is it safe? Is it 12 times now? I need to
Very
say.
good, the acting ability's coming out again.
Do you know that came in handy, that role in Jason the Asthmatic?
Jason the Asthmatic in Always and Everywhere.
So Laurence Olivier says, is it safe?
It does, yeah, I believe.
Repeatedly to Dustin Hoffman.
And
Larry,
Dustin
we call him in
Hoffman
the theatre
says,
business.
I'm an excellent driver.
That's a different film. That's in Rain Man, isn't it?
Well, you know, I think he said it in every film, didn't he? They squeeze it in various... I'm an excellent patient. So, when at the room that I stayed in on holiday, one of the rooms I stayed in, anyway, in this hotel, had got... You know, sometimes you get books in the hotel room.
Oh, yeah.
You think,
Yes.
It had Lord of the Rings in 3 volumes, 3 separate volumes. I thought, how long do people stay at this hotel? It's incredible. And I've never read Lord of the Rings, and I thought, I'm going to the toilet. I'll take the first part of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, confident.
Well, yeah, I didn't anticipate getting through it.
That speed reading course you
I
did
just
5
thought,
years ago has come in handy.
I thought as titles go, it's relatively apt. So I took it. Sorry, I'm sorry, everyone. So I took...
Bang!
And I thought...
8:37.
I've always thought that people who read Lord of the Rings... I went to see the film Lord of the Rings, and they asked me about it after, and I said it was like playing Dungeons and Dragons with Enya on the hi-fi. And they didn't print any of it, and I wasn't invited to any of the further sequels. You're supposed to say... the argument is, if you're going to eat our gatto, you can say nice things about the film. That's how a premiere works.
Yeah, that's the rule.
But I started reading the book, and I thought it was brilliant.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. To my surprise, it was brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it has been popular. There must be
But I
something
didn't feel I
to it.
could take it away. You know, it's tempting when you get into a book in a hotel room, can you?
I
Yeah.
can't be doing with it, Frank.
I like those
worry
bookshelves that say leave yours and take one of these, but, you know, you can't just take one, can you?
No, what was it? No. They had that in the creche.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Thought
Take
that
it
was...
quieter, baby.
Thought that was baby changing facilities. Can I have that one? That one that's sleeping. Yeah, so it's the first time I've read a hard copy book for about 3 or 4 months. And it felt like a bit of a treat, you know, paper and...
When you say that, you mean an actual physical
Well,
book?
I do all the... I read it all on the iPad.
Yeah.
You know, because...
He's got a Kindle.
As opposed
Well,
to
I've got a
paper
Kindle
book.
app. I just... You know, I just couldn't take another paper cut. I couldn't... I couldn't accept it, so I went... I went technological. And it was nice to go back to an old book. Especially, I thought, I wonder how many strangers, people I'll never meet, have read this on the toilet.
Oh, God. Frank.
Lovely thought. Yeah, but it's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah, all of them enjoying the irony of the title.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows if they'd have even thought that out. So I just wrote in the inside cover, while I was here, I went into the restaurant, and they suggested, because I had my baby with me in a pram, that I sat in the far distance. And when I said to the waiter, I thought I'll immortalise that. It's going to make Tolkien look like a pretty dull egg compared to that kind of repartee. I'm rambling, you're right. You know, I'm getting back into it. Shut your face.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank.
Emily.
You know you're quite a fan of an Animal on the Rampage story.
Oh, yeah. Who isn't?
Well, we all are, to be honest. I think there's been what's actually the ultimate Animal on the Rampage story this week. It happened while you were away.
No, I did see it.
Did you see it?
This is the plus of a staycation. You can keep up with the news.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pensioner. I'm not saying she's lost her marbles, but the jury's out at this point. Who spotted this lion originally?
Yeah.
It was in Essex, wasn't it?
Oh, there's a few people saw the Essex lion.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, the eyewitnesses was what I liked the best, their reports. There was one eyewitness, he said he was basically running towards people saying it's a Category C swear word lion.
Yeah.
And then another man...
I wish you'd been saying that. That reminds you of the old joke. Remember that when there's a bloke... You're walking down the street, you see this bloke, as a bloke comes running down the street and says there's a lion escaped from the zoo, and he said, which way is it coming? He said, you don't think I'm chasing it, do you?
There's a man called Rich Baker, 39, from Romford.
Okay.
He was
is that Mr. Kipling pseudonym?
Rich Baker. Yeah.
He was one of the eyewitnesses.
Was he the one who said it was 1 million% a lion?
He said it was 1,000,000% a lion, yes.
I mean, I'm no mathematician, but come on.
No. He doesn't strike me as a reliable news source, Rich Baker.
Or mathematician.
No.
There were photos, though. There were photos of what would, to me, was very clearly a cat. A domestic cat.
Yeah.
I like the person who described it as having... It was a tan colour with a big mane.
Yeah, there was no big mane, no, was there? It must have been looking through an in-seed dandelion at the time.
When I read the article...
a scarf. Cat in a scarf.
A cat in a scarf? You think that's what caused the lion rampage?
A cat in an Elizabethan ruff.
I think Essex cats are keen followers of fashion, and scarves are on trend for them at the moment.
It turned out it belonged to an old people's home, didn't it? The cat?
Yeah.
And it was called Tom, and I thought, come on, make an effort.
Yeah.
Tom? Is that the best you could come up with? Mrs. Harris, what should we call the cat? Tom! Okay. I mean, make an effort. And the terrible thing, I don't know if I should read this out, but the person from the old people's home, the carer, said he's an affectionate cat who just likes the odd stroke. Well, he's in the right place. That's what she said. One of the eyewitnesses said it was the size of 2 sheep put together.
It's all a bit cat's paw.
What do you mean 2 sheep put together? Is that something that dodgy second-hand sheep salesmen do? They weld the back of one sheep to the front of the other if they're involved in accidents.
I also particularly like... Apparently, the police knocked on the door of a circus owner.
Oh, yeah.
And he said... he said they came knocking. They said, "Have you got any lions?" I said, "No, I gave them away 3 years ago to my sons."
No, what they said to him was, "Have you lost any lions?" Come to mention it, I have, but I didn't think it needed reporting.
But Frank, he said, "I gave them away 3 years ago to my sons."
But then he said, "I took the person who came. I took them to my tiger cage and showed her the tigers who was asleep, and that seemed to satisfy her." Well, why did that satisfy her? Yes, I've got 3 sleeping tigers, so I couldn't possibly have lost a lion. Doesn't make any sense.
How did anyone think it was a lion? Apparently it was 70 centimetres in length. I've got heels higher than that. That's really not that big.
I don't know what that... One is 70 centimetres. How many inches is that?
I don't know. Probably 23 I'm going.
That's this week's texting.
I'm going 23.
That'll come in quick.
Do you think?
I think so, yeah.
If somebody's got a slide rule.
70 centimetres into inches, go.
It's going to be about 3 feet?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. That's my bet.
Ish.
We'll see.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What if we do find out he's a lion now after all that? We're going to look pretty stupid.
Oh, yeah, we don't want that.
I must admit, when that bloke said he was 1,000,000% sure it was a lie, I did waver a little. I thought that's a lot. That's big certainty.
I had doubt in my mind when another eyewitness said we witnessed it rolling about in the field and cleaning itself.
Right.
I bet lions do that, don't they?
Bridget Nielsen does that.
Are they normally hosed by keepers?
Yeah. Frank, we've had a tweet in.
Well,
on
now let me make myself comfortable in my chair as I slowly slide into the 21st century.
Get out your copy of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
This is from Clive Wilson.
Oh yeah.
He's clearing up the issue.
It feels like he should be a sort of a minor minister in the coalition government.
From his little avatar picture, he looks like he could be.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I'm being a bit rude because he's been a bit rude.
Oh,
is he?
Well, he's not really. He just sounds like he likes facts. He says a 12-inch ruler is 30 centimetres.
Okay.
This is in response to...
What's 70 centimetres in feet and inches?
So it's about 2 1/3 feet, or 27.56 inches. Did you know you can use Google for this? Oh,
well, that's
Clive.
That's the bit where he's let himself down.
You can.
Tetchy.
But I think if you've got an audience of intelligent people, we use what I like to call Google.
And we've had an influx of people saying 27.55, 27.559.
We don't need... Because those people... OK, there might be the odd... maverick who's Googled it, but I bet you most of our listeners just knew it,
including
the ones who's texted.
Do you think the person who's, and this is not a lie, somebody has texted in 70 centimetres equals 27.559055118110024 inches?
No, he's
That's
Googled
specific.
it.
He's on the spectrum.
Either that or Dustin Hoffman's listening from Rain Man.
If he knew that off the top of his head, then he's a very fine gentleman indeed.
He's taken some time out from his counting matches to
think
text
he's, now that you get calculators on your phone, so we can all be that accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Frank, never mind that. I would like to discuss an animal incident of my own this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It was pretty traumatic.
Oh, dear.
I will tell you about it. Well, I was making myself a nice, nourishing cup of black coffee for my lunch.
6 weeks to OMG.
Yeah.
We should point out that Emily's on the OMG diet. She came around my house the other night and for dinner and had an apple and 2 cubes of cheese.
No.
That's the kind of people I like round for dinner. Well, I'd have those people around on a regular basis.
And 2 green teas.
I could have put the whole thing on a cocktail stick.
Wow.
Simple as that. Yeah, and 2 green... You did have 2 green teas,
I'm just in the fat-burning
greedy
phase.
git. Fatty. Yeah,
So
she
you were
pigged out on 2 green teas as well.
What, you were
Frank.
making black coffee for lunch?
There was a homicide on my concrete patch.
Oh, yeah, but, live and let live, that's what I say. Oh, sorry, homicide.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was? Oh.
Well, as you know, I have a glass door which faces onto my concrete patch.
Yes.
So I was looking through it, and I looked out, and I saw a giant bird of prey.
Oh, my God.
I later established, after extensive Googling, it was a peregrine falcon.
Oh, exciting.
Didn't know they were that big, but...
Well, peregrine falcons. They're big for
Don't minimise my anecdote.
Okay, sorry.
They're big for an urban garden.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was going to work on a pigeon. Let's put it that way.
Was it?
It was like a
Don't they
pathology
fly?
scene.
They can fly, God. This
You could go to work on an egg.
This whole traditional pigeon post thing has it's gone up a notch, hasn't it? They're transporting other birds of the air.
Frank, the look on its face.
What, the pigeon or the peregrine?
No, that had long gone. That wasn't having any looks anymore.
What, its face?
Pigeon's
The
face
head had gone.
Feet.
Oh, really? Head off?
The head had gone.
It's head off. That's how they start, head off.
And when they plucked the feathers, it was like a butcher on Christmas Eve. It was making me feel ill. The look on his face, he was so pleased. I caught his eye as well, which made me feel ill. He looked me right in the eye.
You on that diet, it must have brought out a slightly carnivorous feel to it.
It's all right. There's no carbs on a pigeon.
Were you thinking, that frying pan could be hot in no time?
Yeah.
Because the problem is that pigeon could have ate bread a little earlier.
Or chocolate.
always
they
the
don't,
chance.
They don't get chocolate pigeons. Don't kid yourself.
Oh, okay.
No, it's a horrible... nature red in tooth and claw.
It was really upsetting.
It was.
I did the right thing, though. I called up my mother crying and I said, come over immediately. So she came over with disinfectant and a Tesco's bag. It's not a state funeral, but that was the best I could do.
And what happened to Peregrine? He'd long gone.
Well, Peregrine, this is what sicko he is. He just flew off, leaving me to dispose of the corpse.
Yeah.
Sorry about this, everyone. Anyone listening?
Enjoy your Weetabix.
Keith sitting with his clove on, having to listen to this first thing in the morning, having had about 17 pints of mild last night. Oh, awful.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean. I'm with Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215, and you know what? You can follow us on Twitter using @Frank on Absolute.
Beautifully done, Frank.
We've actually had communication from the outside world because in the previous hour, obviously, we were just discussing the big cats in Essex, the lion.
Yeah, the lion.
And indeed, Emily was telling us that horrific story about the peregrine falcon attacking a pigeon.
I think we've also established that the lion was 20... How many inches?
About 27 centimetres. Inches, 27.5, was it?
No, it was, no. Yeah, was it? Yeah, 27.5 inches. Thank you to the people who sent in. One man sent in, and incredibly sent it to the sort of 6 decimal point.
Oh, yeah.
He sounds my kind of guy.
What that doesn't allow for is when the cat becomes enraged and its hair stands on end, the whole decimal point thing collapses.
But we've had an email entitled...
How do you measure a cat? Tail extended or just...
Oh, yeah, I suppose
I'd always
head
do
to body.
with tail.
Head to end of tail? That's pretty tough on a
with
Manx.
Tail and eye. With tail and eye is how you...
Very good.
Oh.
With tail and cat's eye.
Lovely.
You never see a Manx, though, do you? I know they exist. I don't think I've ever seen a Manx cat.
No.
To be honest, when I was reading the story, when they kept saying...
When I say a Manx cat, I don't mean a cat that belongs to Liam Gallagher.
Or the Isle of Man.
I mean a cat that's... that's what they call Manx cats, aren't they? They have no tail. They just have, like, that sort of boxer dog stomp.
Yeah.
Just about. Covers
I don't believe it. You know, we talk about
behind.
things we don't believe exist. I don't believe there's such a thing as Manx.
Boxer dogs do.
No, I don't believe there's Manx. I think they just lost their tail.
Right.
Rubbish.
In some kind of accident.
You think they've been docked?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Maybe.
They used to do that with poppies when I was a kid. But the tail looked a bit long. They'd find the knuckle, the joint in the tail, and bite it off.
Oh.
Enjoy your breakfasts if you're
Yeah, I
listening
wonder what
to
happened to all those poppy tails that were spat out across the West Midlands. That would have made a lovely a cloak. Anyway,
shall I read this email, or
Yeah,
read
are you
it,
lost
read it,
in this reverie of
don't get
memory of?
Oh my,
tail?
what a reverie!
We've had an email from Carol Maguire who says, "My little staffy bitch, Roxy was."
Whoa.
I think she means a dog. Roxy was ambushed by a big fluffy cat yesterday. She has the scar to prove it. Sun headline: Staffy savaged by cat. This was in a sleepy Angus village.
Well, I think the truth is this is the beginning of the backlash against the devil dog.
Yeah.
It had to come. And it's great that it's been led by the cats.
Well,
the worm has turned.
Emily, seeing the peregrine falcon versus pigeon, I think there's a very predictable outcome. That's peregrine falcon's going to win that every day of the week, aren't they?
Well, cat versus staffy, surely. You'd back the staffy on.
Oh,
You would,
absolutely.
but that's what I like, the fact that it's a surprise ending. My wife came back in the house the other day saying,
And you
we've
hit
just
her?
been...
Is that where this is going?
Bang.
She picked me up. Surprise ending. No, she'd been in the water park area. It's like a nature reserve, and she
I
said
thought that was a toilet euphemism you were using.
I thought that sounded a bit wife-swappy.
she said we were in crossing the river, and we saw eel versus otter, a long fight.
Oh, I'd pay for that. Ringside seats I'd want for that.
Wow.
But can you even imagine who would win that?
Oh, my money's on eel.
Really?
Easy.
Really?
Eel all the way,
Versus
Frank.
otter?
Yes.
I'm imagining the eel running away and finding some, like...
They don't run, Frank.
1 inch.
They don't run.
Swimming away.
Legless creature.
Finding a bit of 1 inch diameter piping and getting
Yes.
there, and the otter not being able to get in. That's how I'm seeing it's going.
Well-
Up yours, Tarka.
They're slim, but they're wiry.
Oh, that's true.
Eel won. You were right.
I knew it.
Sorry,
I knew eel would win.
I thought you were talking about the Kenyans. Completely threw me.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about vicious animal encounters, were we not? Mm-hmm. I saw a brilliant one. I saw a wasp caught in a spider web.
Oh.
And the spider must have thought, another fly. And I thought, go on, mate, go and get it. And the wasp was lying very still. And as it was quite a fat spider, as it got closer, it went to start tucking in. And the wasp suddenly wriggled a bit, and its sting sort of went into the spider's head. Oh. And then I saw it...
Did you stand there like David Attenborough witnessing this?
I did, because I hate spiders.
Yeah.
And I thought, you've caught it in the web, it's like shooting a burglar, it's fine. He started... You could see the wasp's bomb sort of pumping the poison into... And the spider's legs...
Kardashian.
The spider's legs started... They lost their bends and just went completely straight. I imagined it was doing one of those Oliver Hardy... Whoa! One of those sounds. Oh, that was such a mistake. Don't catch a wasp.
Well, Frank, 022 has witnessed a similar battle.
022, what a night that was at the ballet. Go on.
Oh, dear. This is from Hazel. She says, I saw a wasp fighting...
Not Hazel, the 1970s TV detective played by Nicholas Ball.
No.
Okay.
I saw a wasp fighting a battle to the death with the daddy longlegs.
Oh.
I assumed the wasp was likely to win.
Yeah.
But the daddy longlegs was not without a chance. However, I separated them by squashing the wasp.
Oh,
I hate the way...
Whoa, intervention.
I hate the way they lord it over innocent bystanders. That's from Hazel.
That's a bit United States in Central America, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stepped in.
Yeah.
It's nature's way.
Well, yeah, exactly. You got to let them. You got to let them battle it out.
I think both of the things you've just described, I would watch on YouTube if I saw the film.
I know. I'd
say watch Wasp versus Daddy Longlegs.
My view is keep insect combat live. I don't like it. I'm really getting bored of virals. I am. I hate. Anyone sends me a funny viral, I send them a threatening email back.
I don't get the emails. Nobody sends me them.
Rubbish. We're moving on.
Are we?
Yeah, well, Sarah, who's our producer this week, just put a big note in front of me that said adverts. I can't argue with that kind of...
No.
Well, at least she's playing about it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we're going now.
Mm-hmm.
Relax.
Yep.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've heard from the outside world.
I love that.
Andrew Hicks has a question
Does
for
he?
you. Why does Frank have a toilet roll on his desk?
Well, I don't know the answer to that. Obviously, I'm not the only person that uses this studio. Andrew must be on the... he's on the webcam thing. But there is always a toilet roll. Not only that, there's a toilet roll on a sort of a proper metal holder on my desk, and there's an empty toilet roll cardboard thing underneath it, as if someone's been getting through copious amounts.
Maybe someone's got a sniffle. Perhaps there's a...
Well, yeah, but I don't know about you. I don't like wiping my nose on a toilet roll. I know it hasn't been used, but even so, there's a conjunction of images I'm not happy with.
Oh, really?
I like the fact that it's been referred to as your desk, like it's some strange call centre here.
Well, it's my desk for the moment. I think I'm happy with that, yeah.
I like Office Frank.
We've also heard from other people who have had weird animal encounters.
Yeah, we turn out to be a nation of voyeurs on the animal fighting front.
When I was studying at university, after hours of revision, I looked out of my flat to see 3 crows attacking a seagull. 2 of the crows had a wing each, while the third pecked the seagull in the face.
My mum is still on seagull.
Wow.
Stage.
Although it was a fabulous
that's like
display.
hooded youths with a middle-aged man who's come out to remonstrate with them because they're standing a bit close to his car.
Although it was a fabulous display of teamwork, it slightly frightened me that the crows were organised. Even today I sidle past crows so as to not unintentionally offend.
That is amazing. Oh, the great thing about that is basically it's monochrome conflict.
Yeah.
3 crows and a seagull, you know.
Yeah, they could show that in black and
Oh,
white.
do you know
and
why?
explain
You're
it.
right, Frank.
I bet they were fighting
Beautiful.
over a chip paper as well. What a pointless.
Yeah, but the colours would have looked good.
But again, it's almost like the shooting a burglar thing, isn't it? Nobody really loves seagulls, do they? So everyone's happy to see them get a bit of a paste.
Crows are sinister, aren't they?
Yeah, so, to the bottom of the pile, innit, in popularity stakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Frank, Jimbo's also emailed in, just saying...
Jimbo.
Sad day.
I thought he was going to say, I am a boxer dog, and I don't like the remark about our tails not being on them.
I've just heard that the Sesame Street Ron Count has died. His number finally came up.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that he's gone. Seems, what can you say? We've lost count.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Is it time for just one second? Email corner.
Sure is.
You can enjoy real Indian food. Only 30 yards from this cinema. Yes, it is. We've had emails coming in galore.
Well,
Can I just say also, 322 has pointed out the collective noun for a number of crows is, of course...
Now, don't tell me. It's a good one, isn't it?
I just nearly ruined it.
Well, I'm going to give you a clue,
nearly did
Frank. It's relevant to what they were up to, those crows. They were committing.
I got this. I got it.
Go on, what is it?
It's a murder, innit?
Murder, you're right.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
You love a quiz. Look how happy you are at a quiz.
Yeah.
You love a quiz.
Well, I didn't get it, though.
You still love the quiz, though, didn't you?
The old brain as you get older. Crumbles.
Don't get upset.
Anyone wants to talk about the old brain as you get older, text in.
Anyway.
12:15.
We'll go back to email corner, shall we?
Let's go back to...
Hi there. As Wiggins fever has gripped the nation post-Tour de France / Olympics...
Tour of France.
Tour of France, as you call it. His short hair and sideburns have become ingrained in British culture. Did you know, however, that Frank was a pioneer of the Wiggo look many years before?
What?
It's true.
This gentleman says, and I like this next bit, I'm currently unemployed, so spending my time going through most of the videos on YouTube. Well, that is a busy boy.
Well, I mean, congratulations to him that he's... an unemployed man actually watching videos on YouTube.
Imagine if he's unemployed for a while and he finishes YouTube.
But
he'll
YouTube
know a lot of stuff.
It's
won't he?
constantly organically growing.
It is.
That's like getting to know me. It's impossible.
Oh.
So I'm still evolving.
Anyway, he
You must have
continues. I came across an episode of Fantasy Football from 1998, the infamous John Lydon episode. Frank is sporting magnificent sideburns and a very short fringe, looking the spitting image of the yellow jersey and gold medal winner. Just wondering how you feel about a style pioneered by Frank in the 90s being plagiarised by Bradley Wiggins as his own work. Kind regards.
You know what
Rob
Bradley
Hall.
Wiggins has done with my look?
What's he done?
He's recycled.
He's recycled it.
Hey! Look, we'll come back to this email because there are certain things on this show which simply will not be tampered with.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were in the midst of an email from Rob Core, I
Indeed.
remember, the one who didn't make the band.
Yeah.
Rob Core, of course, where I come from, would be a sort of a Rob Can't. That's what it would mean.
Rob can't.
Yeah, Rob Core. Rob Core do anything.
All right. Yeah.
So you don't want to be,
I don't think I'd ever learn that language.
You don't want to be known as... You wouldn't want to be known as Rob Core, because that sounds like a man who's incompetent in the extreme.
Ah.
Anyway, what does Rob Core? He's pointing out... It is true that on...
Infamous
you have sideboards?
Joyce from Lydon.
What was that, 98? Yeah, 98. I did. I went for sideburns and short hair. Very, very similar. Identical almost to Bradley Wiggins'.
I like the fact he's sort of given you the credit for it, that you invented it, as opposed to, say, Caesar or...
Did Caesar have sideburns?
Oh, yeah.
So
No.
sort of
Big
a-
old Forsythian numbers he
Caesar.
had. Yeah.
It's called a Roman crop, isn't it? The old mod haircut.
It's actually called a Caesar crop.
Caesar crop.
Yeah, but I don't, Julius Caesar
Potato,
did not
potato.
have... Hold on. Julius Caesar did not have sideburns.
He did.
He didn't. Can you go out and get me a bust of Julius Caesar? Sorry.
Or just look through my handbag for a coin.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
OK, I said bust. Get over it.
Why is Sarah phoning her lawyer? That's weird, isn't it?
I don't know, she's always
discrimination in the workplace.
Very litigious.
You saw that number on daytime TV. She was watching the soaps. She couldn't resist.
So anyway, yes, I did have that look. As I've explained before, I was never very good with a... I think you were away last time we mentioned this.
The sideburn?
Yeah, my sideburns, they don't join at the hair.
I know you have a problem with the gap,
It's like Central and South America. I have a Panama Canal.
I have a sort of isthmus.
Yeah, if you can imagine, my ear is the South Pacific. And then the sideburn is South America.
I've often imagined that.
Yeah.
For keen geography fans who are already up, they'll be enjoying this.
Yeah, I'd say my sideburns start just about Venezuela is where they're kicking. But, yes, so the makeup lady used to have to basically draw some sideburn on my skin.
Oh, that's a bit David Guest.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's not good, is it?
Like people in the RSC put mascara in their beards when they're playing Shakespearean type, just to give them that bit of extra boldness on the old dark beard. Looks better than
Is
that.
that right?
Yeah, when they strut and fret their hour upon the stage, they like to have a good solid beard. Yeah.
He had a great one, that Dingle in Emmerdale. He had one of those
Dingle?
He had one of those beards that didn't give the lips any space at all. It went straight to almost to the tooth.
I get terrible beard envy. I really do.
Yeah, my beard's rubbish as well. As you can imagine, if I can't do a sideburn, my beard's all over the place.
Yeah, it's like if you can't run a 10k, you're not going to be a good marathon runner, are you?
Yeah, so was that it from Rob Cool?
No, Rob's added a PS. If the Emily is ever in North Hertfordshire...
here we go.
It's a tour of such towns as Hitchin, Letchworth and Stevenage.
Yeah,
I'd be willing to arrive.
That's where you live.
Oh, he definitely lives in Letchworth. She'd have to drive, however, as I currently do not have a driving licence.
I'm 11.
Well, he's added his age, though on the plus side, I am 23 years old.
I'm fine with that.
Sounds
Absolutely
with some pride,
fine.
doesn't it?
In what way is that a plus?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, the arrogance of you.
The gig's as good as hit. I might check it out.
This is what I call a knight's move that we occasionally get on emails, when it's all chatting about some nice, interesting subject, and suddenly it's, and if Emily would like to come to my... What are these rude people? I mean, there's a time and a place. They were talking about sideburns and Venezuela.
And you.
And
we're talking about you, and then suddenly it's gone to Emily.
Sex. See, I mean, I've said sex.
He doesn't mention sex. He mentions Letchworth, but I don't think he mentions...
He doesn't mention sex, but it's in the air.
All right.
Like, its spores are about my nostrils.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, I've been reading about will.i.am.
Oh, he's been everywhere this week.
He's been everywhere.
will.i.am and his terrible misuse of punctuation.
I love will.i.am, though. He's a tiny little thing, isn't he?
I must admit, he's cuddly. I always thought he'd be like super cool, slightly aloof and distant, but I saw him on The Voice, and I felt I wanted to run my fingers down the zip of his cardigan, if you know what I'm saying.
Lovely little smile.
Yeah,
love him.
He seems a jolly character.
Jolly and quite flamboyant as well. Oh. He's certainly had a week. Firstly, he announced he was going to launch his new single On the Surface of Mars. I don't know if you read about that.
Yeah, that's pretty unique.
It's outlandish, isn't it?
But it's called Reach for the Stars, isn't it?
All right.
Is it a cover of Reach for the Stars?
West Club 7. That's Simon Fuller. They better be careful.
I don't think it is that cover.
He's doing it for his foundation. Everyone's got a foundation. This is the thing that
is a publicity stunt.
It's like when stars used to have their own fragrance, and then they've got their own foundation.
Oh.
Everybody's got the blah blah foundation. There's no Frank Skinner
foundation. I thought that was a little joke you were doing there, fragrance and foundation.
No.
It was a little...
but can I just say, I'm so impressed how beauty literate you are there.
Yeah.
But they've all got a charity foundation.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he'll
mean, at least Jimmy Carr, he just didn't pay the tax. He didn't have to build some entire charitable front. Anyway, where was we? Yes, he was on. His thing was
on
played on the
Mars.
moon, but then
Yeah, which I think is just a way of hoping that he gets headlines saying, "Oh, this track is out of this world," and his imagination's on another planet and all that. That's basically. It's a bit obvious, isn't it?
Well, might be why he called it Reach for the Stars.
Yeah.
So they'd be all right with this.
Well, I think life on Mars had gone.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
They've had that.
But that wasn't all, because he was also involved in a pile-up.
Well, this was, I don't know if it was a pile-up.
Oh.
He was in a car with our own Cheryl Cole.
Has Cheryl Cole got the status of our Keith now?
Well, I just think, once there's, like any tragedy, once there's a British person involved, you think, oh, hold on a minute, this is awful.
Yeah.
And when I heard Will.i.am had a crash in a car, I thought, well, I bet that happens all the time. But when I heard our own Cheryl Cole was in the passenger seat, and he sent a text. Did you see that? He said, car accidents are not dope.
Yeah.
What does he mean by that?
I find it hard to disagree with.
Dope is his street lingo for good. He says after people have sung on The Voice, he says, I thought you were dope, man.
I thought he was just comparing them with other things that he did.
No.
And she sent a text, she sent a tweet that said, we're all right, don't worry, honest, lovely.
Yeah.
I thought he should have sent a text after the crash for his fans that just said, well, I am.
Oh, Frank, that's good.
They're all right in their fancy, neat cardigans, but when it comes to wordplay, I'm afraid they're championship.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text us on 81215. Follow us on Twitter. That's the when you used to get someone on the phone to their wife in comedy shows.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that for years. Died out, the frantic high-pitched phone.
Oh, I love
voice.
that, Frank.
Used to happen a lot on Wacky Races.
Yes.
Wonder why that went. Wonder why it died out.
Yeah. It's brilliant comedy thing. It's you, General. Yes, but I simply... Gone forever.
But not forgotten.
Well, not forgotten by me, but your youth. I know nothing. We were talking about Will.i.am, weren't we? He was in an accident with our own Cheryl Cole.
Yes.
In a car accident. He was driving, she was in the passenger seat.
This is in LA. It was at 3:30 in the morning.
Yes.
No judgment.
And no judgment.
Just the time, innit?
Yeah, and he hit a parked car. Well, I mean, they are a hazard.
Yep.
Why they're allowed? I mean, they're on the road, a lot of them.
But he only had a neck brace and a bloody nose.
Well, what are they? Cocktails?
Yeah. Before driving home.
No, we can't. They'd gone for
must have hit it
food.
with some gusto, though, if he's
He took
ended up
Cheryl Cole for food at 3:30am. Is that when she eats?
Yeah, she's a midnight snacker, isn't
Well,
she?
actually, that would make sense. That is when your body, it can burn effectively.
Oh, is that what it is?
Whatever.
Anyway, there's a picture of her in today's paper, today's tabloid, with her arm in a rather fashionable black sling.
Oh, really?
So she's cashed in. She assured her followers that she was unharmed.
Yeah.
I don't mean unarmed, unharmed, that she was fine. And now she's thought, hold on, I'm trying to sell albums here. Can you get me a sling? Karen, get me a sling, look good in paper. And that's what's happened there. She's absolutely fine.
Oh, good.
And speaking of judges...
Judges' houses.
Simon Cowell is...
Well, it's judges' boats, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Rescuer. Extraordinaire.
It said Hero Cowell or something in the headlines.
Did you stop? Did you walk past the newsstand and stop and have to back up?
I did think I think the last time I put money in a Help for Heroes, Tim. If it's going to go to
He
him.
wasn't... Now, technically, he wasn't the rescuer, because Sunita, you remember her?
Yeah,
She's
what a
the one with the
pair.
shiny legs.
How could you... Yeah, she's a great navel.
Lovely, and she loves a quiet intellectual. I remember her singing about that. That's her type of man that she's into.
I suppose her great navel is probably what helped in sea rescue.
Navel, yeah.
But what was interesting, so they
naval
came to the rescue of a sinking ship.
I worry about Sunita. She used to be a star in her own right, and now she's sort of Tonto to Simon Cowell's Lone Ranger. Isn't she some sort of foolish hanger-on?
I think she's more Baldrick.
I imagine he dismisses her with, the old Benny Hill slap on the back of the head.
Oh, damn.
I don't know if he treats her with full respect. He saw a boat possibly sinking, and he sent her to investigate in a smaller boat. Did you know that?
Yes, like the sort of Carpathia.
He didn't go in. Apparently she tastes all his food as well before he eats it.
Well, to be fair, I do that with you. No, that's one job I won't do.
But I eat it from your willing lips afterwards.
Frank,
and
that's
relax.
terrible.
So,
Frank, take that back. The food, I mean.
I do take it back.
I just can't help but think that it proves that he hasn't got the courage of his convictions when it comes to red or black.
I didn't know he had conviction.
It'd be nice if he'd got on a black jet ski and she'd got on a red jet ski, and they'd made the people on the boat pick, and those that picked the wrong one perished.
Or they could have let the boat burn and said, "Do you think the people on the boat will end up red or black?"
Frank,
depending on when the fire goes out.
I liked, Frank, that Sunita said she tweeted. They're all tweeting, aren't they?
Aren't they?
Sunita said was a bit of a problem because petrol in sea would cause major problems and fines. I like that the bottom line is always foremost. The fines is the problem.
She said the captain wouldn't let the boat sink because petrol in the sea would cause... I didn't hear the choice on that one. There's a moment when a captain just gives up and says, "I'll let it go."
Yeah.
I don't think he should have sent her out. It's all gone a bit Captain Coward. I'm not going to,
It's wrong. She's the lady. Surely Simon Cowell should have.
Yeah, isn't that like a maritime rule? Or maybe he was thinking that his boat was on its way down and he said women and children first.
I suppose after that harpoon gun grazed across the top of his scalp and put a centre part in through his flat top.
A spokesman, Frank, said, like all good seafarers, he knew how to help out in an emergency. Now, I describe Simon Cowell as a lot of things, but a good seafarer isn't one of them.
And also, is that the code of the sea? Send in Sunita. That's hardly practical, is it?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Do you think Moses arrived at the back of Simon Cowell's flat top, pursued by the Egyptians, and thought there's only one way to get across this? Banged his cane on the top of Simon's spine, and the hair parted in the centre, and it's remained like
You're so right. That delineation is extraordinary.
Yeah, my fantasy is that Simon Cowell, like that other powerful mogul, Rupert Murdoch, will fall from grace for some terrible reason and be reduced, and he'll become my Sunita. And we'll go fishing together. I'll make him kneel in front of me, and I'll use the top of his head as a rod rest.
That'd be good.
Yeah, that would put him in his place.
I wonder why he has his hair like that. Extraordinary decision.
He's got so much money, he could have any hairstyle he wanted.
Give us a call, Simon, if you're listening. I know people. Frank? We've had a text in. This is from Adrian and Becky.
Right.
a.k.a. 352. Hi, Frank. Saw you at Greenbelt last weekend. I loved hearing you speak. That's nice, isn't
Yes,
it?
I was at Greenbelt. Greenbelt, in case you don't know, it is the Christian festival. Actually, someone said to me, correct me, it's not actually a Christian festival. It's an arts festival with a Christian ethos.
Right. I suppose if you say it's the Christian festival, someone might say, what, Christmas or Easter or...
Well, exactly, it is confusing.
Yeah.
But it was, oh God, people were so nice there.
Oh, yeah.
You can imagine how nice... This is absolutely true. When I got there, I was stuck on the car park for a bit. Three different cars were trying to give way to each other. It's the most Christian thing that's ever happened. But it was great. I had a lovely time. The woman who was I got interviewed in a big tent with 1,000 people. She said to me, "There'll be 1,000 people in there today." I said, "Oh, lovely."
Wow.
She said, "Certainly in this weather."
Really?
And that undermined it a bit for me. But it was... I enjoyed it. It was good. A woman, a girl fainted in the front of the crowd,
which you don't believe in.
No,
if memory serves.
It's attention seeker.
Also, that's a bit Backstreet Boys concert.
It was. Yeah.
What were you saying?
I don't get many people faint at my gigs. I'll tell you. But it was great. She got up. I got up and went over to the edge of the lip of the stage to make sure she was all right. And she got up and apologised.
Nice. I like the fact you went over to offer help, a la Cowl on the high seas.
Well, at least I went.
Yeah, you didn't send someone over.
I didn't have Sunita with me. But it was lovely in that respect. But I slightly lost the crowd at one point.
Oh, did you? Did things not land very well?
Well, I was talking about... it's all started very well because it's held at Cheltenham Racecourse. Mm-hmm. And I said, I think it's great that you've got a Christian festival at a racecourse of all places. You know, gambling. Mm-hmm. I said, you have turned a den of thieves into my father's house.
Mm-hmm. Lovely.
Little twist on a New Testament. They love that. But then after, we were talking about kids in church. And whether you should have kids in church, because my view is if you're going to talk about profound matters, you don't want to be shouting across a playground.
Right.
Kids, screaming in church. Who wants it? So this woman made a big point. You should have kids in church. And I said there should be a creche, creche to the kids. Or what kids often do, they get taken out and they have their own little baby mass with the crayon drawings. That's a great idea. And I said, wouldn't it be a good idea if idiots were taken out of church?
Frank.
And then that would give the priest a scope to aim a bit higher in the sermon topics. He could get into some pretty high blown theology.
You said this,
and the idiots could do some crayon drawings in a small adjoining room. Didn't go so well. What are you looking? What are you doing that cutthroat thing for? I think let's not write it off immediately.
Oh God.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, I had one of my incidents this week.
Uh-oh.
I'm afraid. Well, my fridge broke, which in some way was actually a cause for celebration.
Yeah, but it fits with the diet.
Well, exactly. However, obviously needed to order a new one. So,
I imagine you keep your night masks in there.
Oh, yeah.
And eyeliner.
Eyeliner in the fridge.
It's great. Keeps it nice and chilled. Lovely. In the hot summer months, especially.
Must be very nice first thing in the morning. Eyes a little bit stingy and lovely cold eyeliner going on there. Never thought about that. Must that's Russell Kane if he's got any spare.
I don't think he's got a fridge. He's thrown it out, his fridge, I think.
Has he?
Yeah. Anyway, so I decided to order one. I phoned up and I spoke to a very nice man in a call centre. He was lovely. We had a conversation. He said, at the end of the conversation, I gave
Don't do the voice.
No, I won't.
Don't do the voice is one of show business's new rules, isn't it?
It is. There are so many.
Yeah.
That's one of Frank's new books. I gave him my card details. He said, goodbye, I hope you enjoy the new purchase. And I responded, OK, darling, love you loads.
Whoa, it was a night's move. You've gone from from fridge to hot.
It was awful, Frank.
Did he sound attractive?
Did he say I'm actually engaged?
No, he didn't sound attractive at all.
You can't tell, though.
No, he wasn't attractive. It was awful. It was awful.
Where did it come from?
I don't know, Frank. It's always in me. It's always in me trying to get out. I can't help it. I was a showbiz child in a showbiz family. Anyway, so we rounded off the conversation. I thought, what do I do? There was a pause after, OK, darling, love you loads.
Yeah.
Naturally, there was a pause.
Yeah.
He said, OK, fine, thank you. He acknowledged it.
I'm surprised you even waited to hear that.
I'm sure it's not the first time in your life you've had that exchange.
No. And then
sometimes with people you've been going out with.
This is true. I then replaced the handset.
Oh, yes.
I put the phone down on him.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I couldn't bear to speak
Well, you
to him.
sort of said goodbye.
I can't believe you waited that long. I thought you would have gone, OK, darling, love you loads.
Well, that's my relationships
straight to
in
the hang-up.
microcosm.
I think if you imagine that man in that call centre, though, he's probably a pretty miserable, lonely life. It's probably lovely to get a bit of human warmth.
Exactly, yeah.
I know, but I can't call him again, Frank. It's like calling an ex. I don't know what to do.
Oh, don't worry. He'll email the show within the next 4 or 5 days. They all gather like carrion. These guys who... carrion, look it up.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
The subject of Emily signing off a phone call to a call centre with "Okay, darling, love you loads."
Yes.
There's a Daily Mail article about how apparently more than half of office affairs start with flirting colleagues putting an X at the end of a text
I saw that.
or an email.
Can that be true? I nearly always end a text or an email with an X.
Well,
I've noticed.
This is exactly it. I thought you were sending me signals. I was thinking we're just colleagues, Frank.
I wouldn't. If I read that, do I think any different of it? I don't know. Why is it an X as well?
Well, if someone doesn't put an X at the end of an email or a text, I think they're seriously furious with me.
Really?
Anybody.
I just assume-
accountant.
I just assume
Anybody.
they're straight.
No, but why do they use an X?
Well,
Why
you do, and I
does-
love you for that, but Alan...
But why does it symbolise
No,
a
I'm not.
kiss, is what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
I see what you mean, Frank. I don't know.
Yeah.
What?
When you pucker up, it doesn't look like an
It's
X,
more like
does it?
use an asterisk. That's my advice if you want to simulate puckering up. Or maybe you could use an O for the open mouth kiss.
Our listeners will tell us what
Oh,
it is,
yeah.
they'll know.
Maybe for the tonguey kiss, a Q. Capital Q. That'd do it.
Well, quite often I hit X and get C.
I do that as well.
And I just assume that I've sent my wife a cuddle rather than a kiss.
a cuddle.
Yeah.
Although
No, I think we've all
that's
agreed
a
on
much
that.
cleaner
That
version than what I thought it. Go on.
C just means X now. Everyone's agreed on that. It's fine.
Good.
Kath usually texts back, I've got a headache. Be good if you could text boring people and put a Z on the end.
Oh, that'd be good.
I hope this isn't real.
What?
What's happened?
What?
Oh my God, I think it is real.
What?
Oh, read that text. I can't read it.
Oh,
Alan.
not Annie Lennox.
Text? What's
It's
going on?
420. Someone's just texted in.
4-2. It did make my day. I had tried extra hard to provide exceptional customer service for Emily that day and thought that the way our conversation ended was my reward. How wrong was I? Martin, booth 4, customer care
It was
team.
Martin. His name was Martin
I
as
love
well.
that he's in booth
Good for
4.
Martin.
Frank, it is him because his name was Martin. I remember. I feel sick.
Well, you said that he didn't sound attractive, but I think he does, based on
I do
this.
as well,
I
yeah.
think he's got a bit of panache about him.
I think he's got a panini.
Martin, I'm
with
so
him.
sorry. Love you loads, darling.
Yeah. All together now, Martin. Thanks for calling in, you big juicy baby. That's brilliant. I love the idea of him listening in booth 4.
So do I.
Oh, it's so 1984, isn't it? Excellent.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had various texts and emails informing us that kisses are kisses and O's are hugs. And
O's a hug. Where does that come from? Is it because you encircle? If you were looking down on someone who was hugging someone, they formed an O with their body
Yeah,
and
maybe.
arms?
Why does that make noughts and crosses? Some sleazy
Yeah.
Yeah,
bedtime game.
too right.
The original Twister or something.
I played that with the late Richard Whiteley.
Strip billiards.
So O's mean hug,
Yeah.
X's mean kisses.
Well, Sally Gould.
And I always take a smiley face as a sign of mental illness. I don't know about you. I write them off as human beings, usually after a smiley face.
Frank's not into emoticons.
No. But it said in that article, it said that when women put an X on the end of an email, they're being friendly. When men do it, they're often trying to instigate sex.
Oh, you filthy creep.
That's just, is that why Malcolm X had 6 children? It's just not true, though, is it?
Well, you tell me, honey.
I haven't tried to instigate sex since the 90s. I didn't have to.
Oh,
Eh?
Didn't have to.
But you see, you do kisses on texts, Frank.
I do.
Alan, never, ever has he sent me a kiss.
No, but he's a bit further north than me.
I don't think he... Do you know what? I don't think he ever will. I don't think he ever will either.
I think that's... I see, now I've become conscious about it, because I thought it was just I send them to men, and I rarely
Which
kiss
men?
men on the lips.
Which men do you send kisses to?
I've probably sent... Have I ever sent you a kiss, Alan?
I think once. I did have a little look at my phone, and
oh my God, this is such a big issue. I think once.
it was when you'd had a child, so I assumed that it was a group text and was going to some ladies rather than that it was a kiss.
But you picked up on
Especially
it.
for me. Yeah.
I'm all right with a phone kiss.
It's a weird article, though, isn't it? It's one of those articles that sort of says, "Hey, if you're thinking of having an affair, here's permission, because look at all these people, this is how they started it.
It's going to make it worse now, because men are going to start thinking, Karen in sales always puts a kiss on the end.
Yeah,
Well, it's Martin in booth 4 I'm worried
They'll
about.
be thinking I'm in here. That's not what you want, is it?
I'm so happy that Martin sent in.
We should just say that the survey came from a website called whatsyourprice.com. It does sound like it is a dating website, so it sounds
What's Your Price is a dating website.
Yeah, it does sound like it might be...
I don't like the sound of that.
I've got a vested interest in...
Tell you what I do like the sound of. Email corner. I'm back in the Punjab. So we had other emails.
We did.
We did.
We've had in an email from James Flory. He says, "Hi Frank, Alan and the lovely Emily. I've been looking for an excuse to email in, and I thought this might be of interest.
Okay.
And this was a link to a story about the world's shortest man meeting the world's shortest woman.
Oh, excellent.
Also, I thought I'd throw my hat in the ring. If Emily would ever like to visit Seattle..."
Night's move.
Yoy! And also, I don't like the sound of... That sounds like a euphemism. I think I'd like to throw my hat in the ring. Oh, it's a lovely, sweet story about littlest man meeting littlest woman, and then it turns sordid again.
Night's move. But we should... The world's
Seattle.
shortest man... Yes, Seattle. Very rainy, apparently.
I mean, is that better than some of the other rendezvous, like Hitchin and Letchworth?
I won't be going to Letchworth.
No.
No, I won't do that.
You could literally be sleepless in Seattle, Mark.
Oh, yeah.
What a lovely thing, though, littlest man meets the littlest woman.
Chandra Bahudadangi?
There'd be a hope, wouldn't that they might get on, and wouldn't they?
Isn't that quite a big age gap, though?
Yeah. He's about 73, Chandra Bahudadangi.
Yeah, but, you know...
And Jyoti Amgi, I think she's only early 20s, is she?
Yeah, but they've got other compatibility.
Well, the fact that they both travelled hand luggage. I mean, that's something in common, surely.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank,
Emily.
we've had an email in during the week, and this is from Callum Mortimer, who's 18.
Callum, 18. Blimey.
He's from North Marston. I don't know where that is. That sounds Scottish.
Is that the same Marston as in Marston Moor, the great battle of the English Civil War?
Oh, I don't know, but fabulous knowledge expressed.
If Callum's 18, he probably won't remember that anyway, will he?
No, but I bet he did it at school.
Yeah,
if he lives in Marston, he'll have seen the signs.
He would have done it in his books.
We did a lot of the Luddites because they were knocking about where I was at school.
Oh, there you go.
Anyway.
We mainly did Enoch Powell, the biog. He was a local.
Pray continue.
He was Wolverhampton East or something like that.
Well, our cup runneth over because we were London.
Oh, you had everything. You had everything.
We had it all. Callum wants to know, whatever happened to the Frank Skinner / John Barrowman real-life sitcom thing you talked about in the past? I'm eager to hear.
I've no recollection of this.
You know, someone sent me... someone I know actually sent me an idea for a sitcom. I mean, it did a full treatment called Frankie and Johnny, in which I discover that from doing a sort of a who do you think you are type show, that John Barrowman is a close relative. And he starts turning up at lots of things I do and wants to hang around with me, and I'm not sure about it. That's the premise for the show. It's one of the... I wrote back to him, I don't know if this is a brilliant idea or a terrible idea, and I've never been sure of that. And in fact, just a few weeks ago, he said, Frankie and Johnny... He sent me something about something. He said, Frankie or Johnny, brilliant or terrible, made your mind up? And... I haven't. But it would be... When we talked about shows that got made just because of the name, there is an element of... Like... I'm just waiting for the show I do with Rick Stein. Or maybe one in which Frank Skinner investigates the world's great perfumes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Frankincense.
Oh. I'm Sky Plussing that never to be deleted.
Never to be deleted, that is... I think, that would be... I know it's used on... It's that blue button, isn't it, on Sky Plus? But wouldn't it be a lovely thing on Valentine's cards? And
oh, that's nice, Frank.
I love you, and use the never-to-be-deleted sign.
Right, as opposed to, dictated, not read.
Yes, dictated, not read. Wasn't that Adolf Hitler's CV? So anyway, I was all set to go and see West Brom Everton.
Oh, the
Would have been-
toothache.
and I'm going to have to go to the dentist instead, because now that the painkiller has worn off, I am actually in quite a bit of pain at the moment.
Frank.
But, showbiz, Doctor Theatre, Doctor Radio.
Dr. Feelgood, I say.
So, thank God Everton West Brom is live on Absolute Radio today. I'll be able to listen to it on there. OK, Mark Crossley is next, and if the good Lord spares us, and the
Greeks again.
Yeah, the Greeks, why don't they just put their hands in their pockets and shut up? And the Creeks Don't Rise will be back again this time next week. It's lovely to be back, and you know what? I love you all.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.